Hi, mystery writers. Welcome to Write a Killer Mystery, where we talk about making a good mystery great. And today I want to review point of view and how that impacts your mystery and talk about a couple of points of view that really help you create your puzzle. Okay, the point of view is actually how your reader sees the story, and they see it through a character's head. It's the narration, the narrator's position in relation to the story. And the reader experiences the story the way the narration is told. And from a limited view to a broad expanse, you have many choices about how you're going to create the tone and provide more or less information inside your story. So, choosing a point of view for your story sets a tone. And once you've made that choice, that's it. I can't stress that enough. Don't switch. The time to experiment is at the beginning with your choice and not in the middle of your story. So basically, the reader sees the story through the eyes of the narrator, and choosing how you relate the story from a point of view determines how much information your reader knows. And that's why a good point of view is sometimes called the narrative mode. Fiction writers can choose from 4 different points of view, so let's look at those and discover how they perform in mystery novels. So, first person point of view. The story is written with the pronoun I. I tells the story. The character is in the story and relating his or her experiences directly. Uh, this point of view is limited and biased because we only get the I character's um, perceptions of what goes on in the story. There's nothing else, only that character's perception. So the reader knows only what the narrator tells them. So for first person um, point of view, think, early noir. A dame walked into my office. It's all from that character's point of view. So if your sleuth is opinionated, first person point of view is a strong choice. Your sleuth can express his or her opinions about just about anything, about the characters he meets, about the world around him, places, everything. And their perception of it is echoed in their voice. So their voice carries the story. There's no outside voice. There's only the voice of that character who's telling the story. The one thing you have to be careful of in choosing the first person point of view is moving the story forward. It can be lots of fun to have your character express opinions about everything, but that doesn't necessarily move the story forward. So that's one of the things you need to take care with if you use the first person point of view. Second person point of view is uncommon in fiction because you write the story with the pronoun you. So the reader actually becomes the character. You, the reader, are the one in the story. This point of view offers immediacy, just like the first person point of view, because, whoa, does it pull the reader into the story? You, the reader, are in the story. And the reader experiences what happens in the story as the main character. The reader becomes the main character. And the story feels very personal. This is a very tough point of view to write and sustain. It's going to stretch your writing skills. It's totally possible, but it's going to stretch your writing skills. And I think that's why it's rare in fiction. Um, Fiction writers have experimented with it, but it's a really tough one to sustain through a whole story. So if you're new to novel writing, this is a really hard place to start, the second person point of view. If you're interested in discovering what it feels like, Jay McInerney wrote a really great second person point of view story in the 80s. It's still available. It's called Bright Lights, Big City. It's a very successful example of using the second person point of view, the you. Okay, third person limited point of view. And instead of I or you, the pronouns in this story are he or she. Um, so it's a little bit more removed than first person. Um, the narrator still has a limited point of view with the characters and actions in the same way the first person point of view does, but you're just a little bit back from the story. So the narrator reports the actions and thoughts of a single character. The point of view is limited. The story is told from one point of view. The focus character cannot know what's going on with other characters in the story. So they can't get inside another character's head. So if your character is um, is observing another character, they can't all of a sudden know what's inside that other character's head, what they're planning to do. The motivations are hidden. So this is also a really great choice for mysteries because you get to keep a lot of secrets. Um, Writers may alternate between third person point of view in scenes or chapters and one person uh, point of view. I've seen that done. Sometimes it's the third person is the sleuth and the first person narration is the antagonist. You can play with those points of view. Um, it's challenging, but you can do that. But it's only one point of view per scene. That's the thing you need to really keep in mind is you can't switch in the middle of a scene. Whatever you're doing for that scene, it has to stay with that one point of view. So remember, um, you can't go into another character's head. It's called head hopping. You can only tell what that narrator sees in that scene. And then there's a fourth point of view in literature, which is called third person omniscient. That means they know everything point of view. And that's just way out. That's from, if you think of early novels, where they say, dear reader, and that sort of thing. The, the narrator is the writer, and they get to express opinions and talk about things and also tell you what's going on in each of the characters' head if they choose. One of the things that's hard about this, if you're using third person omniscient, because you can go inside anybody's head from your sleuth to some walk-on newsboy at a corner, is it can be very, very distracting for your reader. It's just like, wait, I thought I was with this character and now it's this character and I don't understand why I'm doing it, why I'm going here. So if you choose this point of view, be very, very, very careful. Um, Choosing your point of view can deepen your mystery, and you have a lot of power with the choice that you make about how you want to tell your story. Am am I going to use first person and really be in that character's head? You have to know a lot about your character and their speech patterns, all that sort of thing, to write in first person. It's like in your main character's head, and that's the only thing the reader ever experiences. It's also great for mysteries because that main character can miss things. They can misinterpret clues. They can misinterpret what suspect says. So it is a great choice, and you'll find a lot of mysteries are written in the first person, and that people are fans of that character. They just love getting together with that character because they know so much not only about how the character works, but how the character thinks and what the character's opinions are about people and things and politics and all kinds of stuff. Okay. And the third person limited point of view is just kind of one step removed from the first person because it's he or she, not I. So you have a little more distance from the character and you can see things that are happening, but you still can't get in another character's head. If you want to alternate between characters with third person, you have to have one scene in one character's head and another scene in another character's head. You have to be careful with this because it can get your reader off track. On the other hand, um, I've read some very good mysteries where it's um, it's in third person and each suspect kind of tell you see each suspect um, go through their life and follow them, and then it's switches, say at a chapter's end, and it's back to the sleuth, and then on to another suspect. So you can work that well with the third person limited point of view. So you do have a lot of choices. You have a lot of flexibility. Second person point of view is really difficult to write. I suggest you try it. Try writing 5 pages with you. It's really tough because you're always outside talking to that reader. All right. If your character, if your story's character driven, first person point of view is just fabulous. You can just delve into that character and get your reader on board with how they think and feel about everything. And third person limited point of view works well for a mystery that focuses on solving the puzzle. So the sleuth is is the vehicle that leads your reader through the mystery to the final reveal. Um, but you're really focused on the puzzle of the mystery and not so much all of the character detail of the sleuth. Um, so if you're still debating which point of view to use, I suggest writing maybe the first 5 pages in different points of view and see how that feels to you. Are you more comfortable with the I voice? Or are you more comfortable telling the story? She did this and she saw that, uh, and you can even experiment with you, and you can experiment with third person omniscient. Third person omniscient is really tough for mysteries, so I suggest that for very experienced writers, but it's always your choice. Okay. The main thing I want to emphasize is that once you choose your point of view, that's it. Your whole story is going to be told with that point of view. So even if you say choose to use third person limited for one character and first person for the other character, that's what you've chosen for those characters. So don't mix them up. Don't switch it in the middle. Um, it's it's just not good craft. So the choice is in the experiment of how you're going to choose which point of view to use. So I would say experiment, just experiment and see what it feels like to write in the different voices and see how your story is, how can I say this, how your story unfolds with the different points of view. It's a great experiment. I've done it. I like doing it. And you learn, one, a lot about your character, and two, a lot about your writing style. So I highly suggest try writing the same passage only with different points of view. So once you choose, it's a commitment to the reader. And when they start reading your story, they feel that they can trust you to stay with that same point of view throughout the story. Okay, I hope that helps and you understand point of view. It is a big choice for your story, which point of view you decide to use for your story. Okay, I know last week I talked about Plotter, and I just want to emphasize again, it's a really fantastic tool. I've been working with it some more, and I have a link in the description below. Um, there's 30-day free trial, so you can experiment with it. It's not going to help you much with your point of view, but it is going to help you with all the different parts that go together, planning your mystery and plotting out how the story goes. So, thank you for watching, and if you like this episode, please subscribe and click that little notification bell so you'll know when the next Write a Killer Mystery episode is out. And until then, keep writing.